Well, so here we are in the studio. I have two handsome men with me. How lucky am I? So let me introduce you. So the band name is 1969, a tribute band.
Correct.
And you are?
I'm Joe DeRoche. I'm the bass player.
And
I'm Brian Gage, the singer.
Okay. And are there any other members that are not present?
Yes, we have drummer Bob Moffett, Robert Moffett, and then we have a guitar player that lives here in Anza, Craig Downey, and we have a keyboard player named Ron Haggerty.
So there's quite a few of you guys.
There's 5 of us.
5 of you,
Yeah.
right, yeah. And how long have you been together?
We've been working on the idea for about a year, so the current setup, I think it's been about 5-6 months. So, as we were making the idea, we went through some changes and things, but yeah, Joe and I here have been at it for a year.
Okay.
Getting the idea going.
And we're kind of stuck together since that's my son-in-law.
Oh, so yeah.
So he can't kick me out of the band.
Singer.
That's right.
He can't kick me out either. I've been married to his daughter for 20 years tomorrow, so.
Oh, well, congratulations then.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Yes.
So give me a little bit of background then. From what I understand, the band is new.
Yes.
And you're trying to get exposure up here in the local area.
Correct. Yes. Well, like Brian said, we started the idea about a year ago. Now, most of the members have been playing music for 30, 40. In fact, I think Craig is 50 years playing in different bands, and most of it locally, Temecula, Hemet, up here on the mountain. But about a year ago, we had this idea to put together a tribute band. And we were kind of kicking around different directions to go, what we wanted to do. And to me, it just kept hitting on this idea. A lot of tribute bands, they're built around a group that maybe had 3 or 4 hits back in the day. And so to put together a whole show around 3 or 4 songs is kind of tough, because you have to get pretty deep into their catalog.
Right.
And so you're trying to keep it interesting, play the hits, and then play other things that are connected to it. And so we just thought, why don't we do a tribute instead of to a certain artist? Let's do a tribute to an era, a year.
So the 1960s is the decade to remember. I remember it. I was not very old, but I certainly remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of honed in on 1969 because it's a pretty iconic year. There's a lot of really good music was released in 1969. The Beatles had Abbey Road. Creedence had 2 records. Led Zeppelin released 2 records. You had the Archies. No, I'm just kidding. The Archies, actually the number 1 song for 1969 was Sugar Sugar by the Archies, a band that really didn't exist. But
right.
So you had Steppenwolf, there was the Guess Who, the Rolling Stones. They all had releases in that year. And so we said, why don't we put together a show and make it like you are attending a rock concert back in 1969.
And one of the cool things I thought, he brought the idea to me, and after listening to a lot of the music, is like how indicative the music is of the time that was happening. So you've got songs like Fortunate Son, where, they're being drafted into a war they don't believe in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of anger there. And then you got people dealing with that anger in a lot of the psychedelic music, like Magic Carpet Ride, and people getting into drugs and trying to escape their reality. But then it all really kind of culminates in this peace and love of, get together by the young bloods and let's live for today by the grassroots. So you've got these elements to 1969 that really, they were happening in real life and really reflected in the music, I think.
Yeah.
And like I said, digging into 1969, I just quickly became a fan of like all these bands, like even more just realizing what they were writing about and spreading those ideas about peace and love in the end. That was really the ultimate message, I think, that was presented.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to get my bell bottoms up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Bell bottoms and put the flower in your hair.
Oh, absolutely.
And your beads.
Yeah.
And
If you need to know where to shop, we're pretty much professionals at this point. You know, I had to get a second closet. So much cool stuff.
we've hit every thrift store between here and San Diego looking for bell bottoms
Yes.
and tie-dye shirts and all that kind of stuff.
And that's actually another element of the show is really trying to pay tribute. Our back line is all period correct. You know, he's playing a 1969 Gibson. I'll let you nerd out on the guitar.
Yeah, it's an EBO Gibson bass guitar that I paid way too much money for to be period correct, and Craig has a period correct guitar. Like Brian said, we have amplifiers that are all what you would typically see if you went to Woodstock or if you went to a festival in 1969. So not only is the music, we're trying to copy the music note for note and present that to the audience, but we're also given the visuals of what these guys were playing. You know, what was Jimi Hendrix playing back in 1969?
Right.
That kind of guitar and that kind of amplifier. So we're trying to get that kind of vibe. So it would be really like you did step into 1969.
Right. So your audience, I mean, you got old timers like myself, but I mean, are you finding the younger generation, the Gen X and millenniums, are they interested in our era of music? I'm looking at you because we're probably contemporary.
You're looking at my gray goatee here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny too because Brian, being my son-in-law, he's younger than I, and so seeing him discover this music, you know, like I would send him a text, hey, go listen to this Guess Who song called These Eyes, and getting a text back 20 minutes later, dude, that is the most awesome song. It's like, we're putting that in the set list.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then my kids and my grandkids, you know, playing this music for them, and they're like, oh, that is really good stuff. So not only is it good music, but the message too, like Brian was saying, you know, it's peace and love.
This is an interview with the tribute band 1969 The Tribute.
Not only is it good music, but the message too, like Brian was saying, you know, it's peace and love. It's like what's going on today in our society and our politics is just so much hate going on.
Right. And I mean, people will still they're patriotic at that point. You know, they're still, willing to go to war and you know,
You had Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock playing the Star Spangled Banner, you know, with all the dive bombs and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
it was a really cool era. And it's cool to see the younger generation now discovering that music. And because I think the music recorded back in that day, it's a lot more honest than what we're seeing today. You know, there wasn't all the studio
technology.
Tricks and, you know, we're going to go in and make you sound like $1 million. It's like these guys could really sing. And they could
really play
their
those guitars.
instruments. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Exactly, yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
and I'll add that, you know, I don't think these songs ever went away. I was watching the Super Bowl this year, and obviously I'm familiar with these songs now, where I wasn't before. I heard 5 of the songs in our set list during the Super Bowl. Things that I just never really paid attention to, and I'm like, oh, that's Magic Carpet Ride by Steppenwolf they're playing. And I heard Can't Find My Way Home by Steve Winwood and Eric Clapton. I heard that playing in a commercial, and then I heard Born to Be Wild, and I kept hearing these songs. I'm like, they're actually still mainstream to this day. A lot of people don't know they were from 1969, but there's so many songs that have really stood the test of time.
Right.
So where I say, you know, if you're experiencing these songs for the first time like I am, or for the 1,000th time like maybe Joe is, it's great music. I think it really does reach across the age gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you ever look at the Billboard, you know, the top 100 for a certain time in 1969, And I mean, if you put all those songs in your playlist, I mean, you're just mind candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
mind.
there's, and that's kind of what we did when we put this together. We thought, okay, we want recognizable hits. Not all recognizable. I mean, we're doing a few kind of off the cuff. They were still hits, but they weren't giant hits. Like, there's a song by a group called Spirit called "I've Got a Line on You."
Yes.
And, you know, I don't think it was a top 20 hit, but what a great song it
I had
is.
never heard it.
Yeah, but look
our
at the
keyboard-
competition they had too. It's hard to
Yeah.
become number one when you've got,
That's
Yeah.
true.
you know,
When they're going
20
against
other
They were so
really
big,
great
the
the
bands.
Stones and the Beatles.
Yeah,
and,
with
you
two
know,
records
Creedence.
at the same time. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So there's just so much that we could do and put on a good show where there's no sort of stinkers in the set. It's all recognizable songs for the
Right.
whole, 90 minutes to 2 hours.
So
is
if
what
I
we're
came to
shooting
see
at.
a show, then I went to see a show again in a month, would I be hearing the same material again? Or are you trying to mix it up? Or how are you catering your music or, keeping your audience captive?
The plan is to not just get one set of music and play it for forever, but in the beginning, we're going to settle on 90 minutes to 2 hours of music, and then as we develop as a band, is to bring new stuff in to substitute out. Maybe this one didn't quite connect as well as what we thought, but to keep the set fresh, and because our plan is to play in the area and we want people to come back and experience it.
Of
Yeah, so
course.
for returning to a venue, we'd like to come back. And that's the great thing is we have a lot of options. We've got some songs that I really like. And I'm like, well, we'll put that in the next round. There's
Yeah.
we have a huge catalog to really draw from and still stay true to what we're doing.
Well, it's an interesting concept, like you said, instead of just a tribute to a certain band, but
Correct.
to the whole era and to that year. That's
Right.
really,
Right.
because the caliber of the music was just real exciting.
Yeah.
So what are your venues? What are you looking at? If I want to find you guys.
Yeah. We've got 3 shows upcoming. So our big debut is July 20th at the historic Hemet Theater. We'll be there at 7 p.m. ready to rock and roll. We're going to be doing some video tying into our set behind, utilizing that theater. July 31st, we're going to be at Old Town Blues Club. And August 10th, we'll be at the Irvine City Concerts.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And closer to home, do you have anything scheduled here in the Anza, Idlewild?
Not at
of course, this
the
is
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not-
Hemet is the closest at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're always looking.
Yeah.
We're ready to rock.
Well, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm ready to throw in my bra and I'm going to come there and,
Yeah.
But just be careful because your fan base, if they're like me, they're in, just about 70 braless. You don't want to see that.
We have no warning. There may be hippie signs.
Oh,
we have none of
that's
those.
right,
We like
that's right.
hippies. Hippies are
And
welcome.
another aspect, not only are we as a band trying to get all the visuals, all of the backline, so it appears like you walked into a concert 1969, but we're asking the people that are coming to see us, hey, put on some hippie garb, put on your bell bottoms, put on your tie-dye shirt, put on your linen glasses and your beads, and wear your little sandals with the hook over your big toe.
Oh,
You
that's
remember
right.
those?
Yes.
And
yes.
so it's kind of, we're going to feed off of the audience as well. So it'd be cool to see people out there
Yeah.
that look like they've just stepped out of 1969 as well. So,
Right.
Yeah, we want people to leave not thinking they just attended a concert, but we really want an immersive experience. We want people to feel like we just went to a festival in 1969 and it was amazing. Like that's what we're looking for: the sights,
Right.
the sounds, the smells, everything.
Woodstock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Woodstock and more.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you said 2 hours. You do a 2-hour set?
Yeah.
Well, that must be exhausting. I know you're having fun, but that's like, and you know, for the singer, I mean, that's a lot of singing. So
yeah,
it's kudos to you.
I practice in the car. I have an hour commute every day, so I sing the first set on the way down, the second set on the way home, making sure the pipes are ready. So
Oh, that's really too much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so your music background. Let's start with you, Brian.
Okay.
So obviously you sing.
It's a good place to start because it's very short. I've just never really had an outlet. I've done various things. In fact, I started, I think my first time ever singing was at my sister's wedding. And quickly I became the wedding singer at 13 years old because somebody else booked me for their wedding. And then I did like 15 weddings as a kid. Like, I just had an acoustic guitar and liked to, people would give me a song. I was like, yeah. So I kind of did that, and Joe and I had a previous band before COVID. We played a few times, but
so COVID killed the band.
Yeah, kind of, and that's where this idea came about. Is
common story.
Yeah, we said, hey, if we're gonna come back, like
was it just the two of you?
No, we had a few different players, and so when it died, when we came back, I just said, hey, like, I really had a lot of fun doing that, but like, let's take it to the next level. Like, let's do something big. Like, I think we've got, the intangibles to do something big. Like, let's go for it. So yeah, I mean, I've played in a few bands, and I had a few bands in high school and stuff. But yeah, I'm not the one with 50 years experience like Craig. But but I'm having a great time.
All right.
I'm having a great time, and I love connecting with audiences, and I love.
And you're just a natural. I mean, you're obviously pretty gregarious. I mean,
yeah, it's just I love that interaction, and I'm really passionate about this music now. Like, it came to be, through Joe, and man, I just really took to it, and I'm so excited to get out and start sharing this music with people because it's really fun. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's brand new episode of Fika with Annika. This was part 1 of a 2-part interview with local band 1969 The Tribute. Catch a replay of part 1 on Sunday. Catch part 2 next week.
You are listening to KOYT-LP in Anza, California.